I was really surprised, honestly, that the Panthers made this trade. But like I said, looking at the previous trade that happened with the 49ers, kind of makes sense that they see 4 quarterbacks probably going off the board, and probably some guys that they liked that could potentially drop at 8. And so they went ahead and pulled the trigger on the trade, fearing basically the miss out on getting any quarterbacks other than who they have right now, which is Teddy Bridgewater. So not really too much of a shock, I guess, in that department, just because it makes sense when you think about it that way. But it was kind of shocking in the sense that I didn't think the Panthers were going to trade for Sam Darnold. I thought maybe they would trade up and try to go for like the 5th pick with the Bengals or something like that, or try to make something happen maybe with the Falcons, who are now saying that they would like to trade, or would listen to trades. So I kind of shocked there, but Sam Darnold going to the Panthers for a 6th-round pick this year, a 2nd and 4th-round pick next year, doesn't feel like too much, just because a 6th round this year is pretty much nothing. I mean, you're talking, a very, very, very small chance that player is going to be a starter or even a home run pick. So more of a depth guy at 6th-round pick that you're hoping. And then really the bulk of the picks are the 2nd and 4th next year. I guess if you're trading for Sam Darnold this year, getting rid of the 6th, you're hoping that with the 8th pick and your 2nd and 3rd and 4th round picks that you're going to pick players to help build around him. So that's what I would assume. That would be my thinking there, is that maybe they're confident with Sam Darnold being their move going forward, and then they don't really care about the picks next year because they care more about the picks this year. They didn't give a 1st-round pick up, which is good. That kind of helps them. So that, there's at least that. But yeah, a very interesting trade. It basically all but confirms that the Jets are 100% taking Zach Wilson. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more in my mock draft, but that definitely confirms that. Sam Darnold gets a little bit of a refresher. Hopefully he actually is able to reach the potential that I think he can reach. I've seen a lot of throws with him in the Jets where he kind of shocks me and makes some incredible throws that, you would see out of a quarterback who's top, 15 in the league. Of course, he was on a team with Adam Gase and whatever else was put out there with him, which was terrible. So definitely can see him having a chance there to make a difference. So yeah, it's definitely a refresher and a reset on his career, and I hope that honestly it's a good reset on his career. He's a lot of good players there, wide receivers. He gets McCaffrey, he gets DJ Moore. He gets he reunites with his old wide receiver. I can't remember his name. It's escaping me at the moment, but reunites with him coming from the Jets. So he's a much more talented team, and we'll see in my mock draft a little bit later, shortly, which also I want to point out that I see your comment about Atlanta, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the mock draft. So I'll address that there. But yeah, I definitely, you'll see in my mock draft maybe what the Panthers will also give to help him out a little bit. And so it's ultimately at the end of the day, I think it works out for both teams. The Jets get a couple picks in return for a quarterback that they definitely weren't moving forward with, especially having the 2nd overall pick. And I saw that they came out and basically said that since they had gotten the 2nd overall pick, that was what made them basically decide to move on from Darnold, and that if they had gotten a lower pick, they would have kept him and just given him some weapons. Whatever. You could say that hindsight 2020 after making the trade. That's fine. You could say all you want about how we would love to keep him. You made your decision. You liked Zach Wilson better, and that's fine. I mean, go get your guy. That's how it always works out in the draft. If you like a guy and you think that he's going to be successful, go get him, because you don't want to be the team that is 100% sold on a guy and you let him go to another team before you because you didn't want to go get him, and then you see him be successful on a different team. So I'm fine with it. That's how I feel about the trade. What were your thoughts on this interesting trade between these two teams?
I was just shocked the amount they were able to get for him. I didn't think anyone was going to put up anything close to a 2nd-round pick, and I don't know if there's more about if it's like conditional or anything, but like I thought we were talking about a 4th, like 2 4ths, and maybe like a 3rd or something, but like a 2nd-round pick, a 4th and a 6th, I thought that was wild. And I think the Panthers just got super desperate again, just like they did last year with Teddy Bridgewater and signing him. And I don't know how it'll lay out. Obviously it's like a way better offense in total on the Panthers, so like that's good. and maybe actually a team that'll coach him and put effort into that. But like, I was just shocked by the amount of draft capital they gave up. I didn't think the Jets were going to get anything for that. So good for them. They're going to obviously be able to reload with Zach Wilson and use those draft picks in other places. So they're in a good spot, and I don't think they're going to be a laughing stock that much longer, which is, that's fun. I don't have any problem with the Jets being good or competitive.
Yeah, me neither. I don't mind the Jets being good at either. So, it's one of those where, the one thing I will say about that is I did think that it might take a second. I just didn't think it was going to take any of the other picks. Like, I'm surprised that there was a 6th round and a 4th round pick being thrown in there. I really thought at the end of the day it was going to be probably like a 2022 or 2023 second round pick, and that was basically going to be it. That's probably the highest value they'd get. Now, I do think that, like you said, I think it was because the Panthers got desperate and showed their desperateness in probably the call they made to the Jets about Sam Darnold. The moment they made that call, I'm sure the Jets were like, okay, right after the 49ers trade, they're going to make this call. Okay, they're desperate. So that may have played a role into how much they got for him. But like I said, I think Sam Darnold was drafted high for a reason, and I think that he is talented enough. And I've seen enough of him, with Josh Rosen, for example. To me, there was issues with him before the draft on whether or not he even wanted to play football, or whether he was really in it or his heart was in it. So like, him not doing well in the league is not surprising. But like, Sam Darnold wanted to play football, and not only that, but showed flashes. He just had some issues that you had to iron out, and a good coach would iron out. It's just that he ended up with Adam Gase, who unfortunately is Adam Gase and has never had a successful offense outside of the Peyton Manning years, which, really, having Peyton Manning is not making
cheerleader. He was a cheerleader at that point.
You're basically giving Peyton Manning suggestions on what you think you should call, and then Peyton goes, "Listen, I got it, don't worry," and then gives him like a finger gun, and then like goes out and calls a play. So like, that's kind of how that goes.
And he got 2 head coaching jobs out of that and numerous offensive coordinator positions. It's wild.
It's wild how many. It's wild. Yeah, Omaha. That's all he's got to say, and then everybody knows he's going to complete a pass. But yeah, I'm surprised, unbelievably surprised, how often in the league that coordinators and previous head coaches get brought into coaching staffs. Like, it's funny. Like, I was talking to my dad, and we were talking about potentially when Matt Nagy was going to get fired. And he still might, but we're like, Matt Nagy's going to have another job. He's going to have an offensive coordinator job somewhere, and then there's going to be another team that gives him a head coaching job. That's just the way the NFL goes, and that's how it was with Adam Gase. Is the Dolphins, failed and they got rid of him, and then the Jets were like, "Listen, I want more of that," and then they got him, and and then it ended up where it is. But yeah, I think Sam Darnold has a lot of potential and actually has the talent to reach his potential. I just think that it's him being on a terrible team and him being with Adam Gase that's really ruined him. And I really hope that finally 4 years into his progression, that the Panthers are able to finally turn him around and start developing him like he should have been years ago, and hopefully he turns into something. I think he can. It just is going to take the right coaching and the right situation. And so we'll definitely will be watching this next season, seeing if that plays a factor. But yeah, very interesting trade amongst all the other interesting trades that have happened. So yeah.
Where do you think Teddy Bridgewater's going to go now? Think he's going to stay?
See, the sad part is like, I don't want to say it because it hurts my soul, but I know that the Bears had liked Teddy Bridgewater, and so like immediately when the moment I hear Sam Darnold traded, I thought, wow, Sam Darnold gets to go to the Panthers. That's good for him. No.
They already made their commitment, though.
Here we go.
Yeah, they can't even argue to anyone that Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a better alternative to Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't disagree with that more. So I doubt they're going to do that. It just wouldn't shock me as a Bears. It just wouldn't shock me. Is all I'm saying. It's like, I wouldn't surprise me. They're incompetent, not malicious, though.
Huh?
They're incompetent. They're not malicious. If they traded for him and like gave draft capital and also squeezed themselves like under the cap again, like that's really just like forget about everyone else.
Yeah, but I don't know. I see that Ravens backup that could make sense. I definitely could see that. He plays a similar could play a similar style to Lamar as far as having some running ability. I don't know if he fits particularly well in that offense. I would think Teddy Bridgewater would be better in even the Patriots would make sense for him. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on him. I think ultimately at the end of the day, Teddy Bridgewater is on the Panthers roster because I don't think anybody wants a flyer on Teddy Bridgewater with $20 million sacked in his contract for 2 years, or
Right.
$20 million per year. So I don't think he ends up anywhere. I think he stays. I think it's just Sam Darnold's the starter, and Teddy Bridgewater unfortunately becomes a backup again, and kind of Teddy Bridgewater basically becomes the who's the other two quarterbacks that we talked about before. Oh man,
bad ones or good ones?
Names that escape me, but essentially those falls in that category of quarterbacks that never really, unfortunately, got an incredibly fair shot at being a quarterback, and it's just like a career, somewhat starter, somewhat backup. So
Tyrod?
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor falls in that, and then the guy from the Colts who was back up in the Patriots.
Oh, yeah. Jacoby Brissett or whatever.
Brissett falls in that category too. Yep. Yeah. Those are the two. Those are the two that I feel like that's where Teddy Bridgewater is unfortunately going to end up, and it sucks. But I mean, he's still going to make money, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly.